In the grand, silent theater of the cosmos, the stories of chosen ones are presented to us as sacred, linear narratives. We are taught that a prophecy is a divine decree, a fixed and luminous path carved through the chaos of possibility, leading a singular hero to a predestined and climactic confrontation. We have come to view the fulfillment of this prophecy as the final act, the triumphant resolution that restores balance and concludes the hero's journey. This understanding, however, is but the first page of a book whose true contents are written in a language of pure light and shadow. The prophecy is not a story about winning a war. It is the brutal, alchemical process of forging a living bridge. The chosen one's life, their trials, their very soul, are the raw materials used by the universe to construct a stable conduit between disparate realms of existence, between the finite and the infinite, the temporal and the timeless. The victory that ends the prophecy is not an ending, but the final resonating strike of the cosmic hammer, declaring the bridge complete, stable, and open for a traffic the world is not yet prepared to witness. A profound and terrifying secret of the prophecy's fulfillment is that the great darkness, the primordial chaos that served as the antagonist, is never truly destroyed. It cannot be, for it is as fundamental to the fabric of existence as the light that opposes it. In the final, cataclysmic confrontation, a portion of this darkness is not vanquished, but is instead absorbed, integrated into the very essence of the chosen one. They are left with the shadow's imprint, a permanent, living memory of the consciousness they opposed. This is not a corruption or a stain upon their soul, but an endowment of the most dangerous kind of wisdom. They now understand the logic of chaos, the perspective of entropy, the silent, seductive arguments of the void. This shadow's imprint becomes a constant, internal companion, a dark mirror reflecting a truth the light alone cannot reveal. Their unwritten fate is to carry this terrible and profound knowledge, to hold the essence of their enemy within themselves without succumbing to its influence, a task far more perilous than any physical battle. With this new, dualistic nature established within them, the chosen one's perception undergoes its most radical transformation. They become a being of the threshold, their consciousness existing simultaneously in multiple states of being. They no longer see the world merely as a physical, solid reality. They now perceive the intricate, shimmering seams that stitch the manifold layers of existence together. They can see the ethereal plane, luminous and fluid, occupying the same space as a city street. They witness the swirling currents of the collective unconscious, the astral realm teeming with thought forms, and the faint, geometric glow of dimensional boundaries, all layered over the familiar world like divine transparencies. Their first daunting, unwritten task is one of navigation and survival. They must learn to process this infinite influx of multidimensional information, to discern which reality to engage with at any given moment, and to maintain their fragile anchor to the physical world, lest their consciousness dissolve and scatter across the very planes they now perceive. From this extraordinary perception, their true, unwritten purpose begins to crystallize. As a living bridge, as a being who now consciously straddles multiple realities, they discover their role as a dimensional harmonizer. The fate of the world is no longer about a single, overt threat, but about the subtle, constant interplay between these unseen realms. They learn that a surge of collective human fear on the physical plane can create a volatile storm in the emotional realm, which in turn can thin the veil to a dimension of chaos. Their new work is to maintain the delicate, energetic balance at the intersection points. They become a silent, spiritual diplomat, a living point of equilibrium. They do not fight wars. They prevent them by reinforcing the boundaries between worlds, by calming the psychic tempests of humanity, and by ensuring the different layers of reality remain in a state of relative harmony. A task that requires constant, vigilant, and utterly invisible effort. To perform this impossibly complex task, the Chosen One must master a language that predates all human speech, the primordial language of archetypes. The great archetypes are the sentient, structural forces of the collective unconscious, the God forms and power complexes that govern the unseen realms. The Great Mother, the Divine Child, the Wise Old Man, the Trickster, the Destroyer. The prophecy had forced them to perfectly embody a single, powerful archetype, the hero. But their unwritten journey requires them to move beyond this singular role and become a master of the entire pantheon. They must learn to speak with these immense psychic forces, to understand their influence on the human world, to negotiate with them, and to mediate their powerful energies. They learn that a sudden rise in societal chaos might be the influence of the trickster archetype seeking expression, and their role is not to fight it, but to help channel that disruptive energy into creative rather than destructive outlets. The core of their internal, unwritten journey is the trial of the integrated shadow. The imprint of the darkness they absorbed is not a passive memory. It is an active, intelligent consciousness within them. It constantly whispers its own truths, its own potent logic. It offers them the wisdom of dissolution, the perspective of absolute freedom from consequence, the seductive power that comes from understanding and commanding the forces of chaos. Their greatest and most enduring trial is to hold this immense and dangerous knowledge in a state of perfect balance with the light of their divine purpose. It is a continuous, internal dialogue between the Creator and the Unmaker within their own soul. To achieve mastery here is to transcend duality itself, to understand that light and shadow are not enemies, but cosmic partners in the great dance of creation. This is the path to true wholeness, a state of being that holds all polarities in a dynamic, unbreakable, and compassionate embrace. Having achieved this near-impossible state of internal integration, the Chosen One undergoes their final, most profound transformation. Their very being, their energetic signature, becomes the living incarnation of a new cosmic principle, a new law of reality. The old prophecy was about restoring a pre-existing law. For example, that order must triumph over chaos, or that light must vanquish dark. But their unwritten fate is to move beyond this duality and embody a new, more evolved universal law, such as all polarities can be integrated into a higher, more complex harmony. Or true power is the ability to hold all things in a state of unconditional love. Their physical and energetic presence on the planet now acts as a constant, subtle broadcast of this new law. It seeps into the morphogenetic field of the planet, making this higher state of consciousness more readily accessible to all of humanity, not through teaching, but through silent, powerful resonance. As a dimensional harmonizer and an embodiment of this new law, they develop the ability to consciously create what can only be described as safe harbors within the turbulent ocean of the collective consciousness. These are stable, coherent, and high-frequency energetic zones, invisible oases of profound peace, clarity, and protection. A scientist on the verge of a breakthrough, an artist channeling a masterpiece, a soul in deep meditation, or a person simply crying out for a moment of peace may subconsciously be drawn into these protective fields. Within these silent, unseen sanctuaries, their work is nurtured, their minds are cleared, and their connection to their own divine source is amplified, all under the benevolent, anonymous guardianship of the Chosen One. This is their service in its most mature form, not saving the world, but creating the sacred spaces where the world can begin to save itself. As their mastery deepens, the bridge they have become begins to resonate, not just with the adjacent spiritual planes, but across the vastness of the cosmos itself. Their luminous, integrated consciousness becomes a beacon, attracting the attention of other forms of intelligent life from entirely different dimensional matrices and evolutionary pathways. These are not merely angels or elementals, but sentient beings from realities governed by different laws of physics and consciousness. Their final, unwritten, and perhaps eternal role begins to emerge, that of an ambassador. They are a first point of conscious contact, a stable and trustworthy intermediary capable of facilitating a new, profound, and peaceful coexistence between a maturing humanity and the incomprehensibly vast cosmic community it is a part of. The original prophecy, with its simple planetary focus, was only the most rudimentary training for this truly galactic and sacred responsibility. The journey beyond the prophecy, therefore, is an evolutionary spiral from a single, defined purpose to a boundless, creative existence. It is the path of a soul moving from being an instrument of a cosmic plan to becoming a living law of the cosmos itself. The final, unwritten fate is the liberation from the need to do anything, and the simple, profound freedom to consciously be. It is the realization that a soul in a state of perfect, integrated harmony is the most powerful force in creation. This is not a story for a chosen few, but the latent potential within every human soul. Our own personal prophecies, our careers, our roles, our identities, are the sacred forges that prepare us. Beyond them lies the unwritten invitation to stop merely living in the world and to begin consciously embodying a new and more harmonious way of being. And in doing so, to become a silent, stabilizing bridge of light for all who walk the path alongside us.